Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And in today's stream, it is November the 8th, 2022, and I am going to be continuing working on this background for my teaser trailer, for my animation. And it's been a few days since my Friday stream, and I would just like to sit back, relax, and draw a little bit while I talk to you all. Right now, I am doing the line art for a few more of these background elements. If you watched my previous stream, I got up to these floating islands and floating buildings, which is a special part of this world that I'm creating. And I guess I can go a bit more in depth with why and how these islands are floating later on in the stream. Though I do remember that I did mention it in my last stream, but a refresher is always nice. This is coming along nicely. I try to schedule my streams around lunchtime because many other streamers they like to stream around in the nighttime. And personally, I even often find myself watching streams at night. But not many people, at least not many that I know of, actually stream like during the day where people are awake. And I like the idea of watching a streamer like around lunchtime. Like lunchtime where you're at your break, you're just enjoying some you time. You maybe are eating a sandwich or you might have picked up McDonald's or something. It's nice to have a kind and soothing voice talk to you while you eat. At least that's sort of the idea I like. So for my streams at least, don't get too upset if I stream during your lunchtime. And I have in fact been thinking that maybe I should stream more often. Perhaps 2 days isn't enough. I should try for 3. I mean, I just don't quite know yet. Even though I may have been doing this for a few months, I do still feel kind of new to all this. But it is definitely fun, and I love taking my time and talking to you guys. enjoying myself and working on my projects. And then having you guys watch my work and see how far I've come. I'm not the best artist or the best animator. There are plenty of other animators on YouTube and who aren't even on YouTube who are far better than me. But I do like this journey that I've been going on. And I do feel like not just with each project, but each time I stream or open Adobe Animate or Photoshop, I feel like I get better, which is a nice feeling. And I think anyone who is, you don't even have to be artistically inclined, but anyone who has something they love to do, streaming or recording yourself is definitely a good way to grow in your aptitude. And if you don't want to stream, hey, I can't stop you. I'm not forcing you. I'm just saying that I've been having fun recently, and I'm happy that there are those of you out there who like, enjoy, and indulge in what I'm doing and creating. And I'm not gonna lie, this isn't necessarily what I expected. If I'm being completely honest and transparent, at least by now, I thought I'd be working in a animation studio and working on some show or big project, and I would rant or rave about it. And honestly, my life has been a bit of an adventure because literally nothing has gone the way I've planned it or I have wanted it to go. But at the same time, I can't lie and say that I'm not enjoying it. I mean, I do still have some fear and I do still have some concerns, but that's just being human. You will always have fears and concerns. There'll just be moments where they don't eat at you as much. So, a bit of a refresher. This location is known as Neo New York, essentially New York, but a new New York. And yes, sadly, location ideas are pending. I guess Neo New York is sort of like a code name for what this location actually is. And so essentially, what happened is after Magic returned to the planet, the dense concentration of magic caused, at least in New York's case, it caused certain land masses and areas in New York to begin to float and levitate high in the sky. And so now we have these mini islands and many subdivisions, or I forgot the proper term for like and Manhattan and what are the other locations in New York? The Bronx, different things like that. But essentially, there are these new locations that have floated, and they float at different varying levels. But for the most part, there's like the ground city, and then there are these lesser, well, not lesser, but like smaller sky cities that float around. And because of these new locations, it's led to different advancements and sort of different concentrations or businesses. Like there's the commercial island where there are a bunch of shops and different businesses and empires, not empires, but yeah, empires and different empires that sort of sell different goods. Then there's the industrial and mechanical island that builds a lot of different items and services like that. These more free floating, separate buildings are actually privately owned companies. Because of the advent of magic, it has led to an economic and societal boom. Magic in this world is seen as a renewable resource. So there have been separate business opportunities as well as pre existing ones that have been able to grow and flourish due to magic. And it has also led to an economical increase, an increase in money and profits that has led these companies to be able to almost buy their own land within cities and within different locations so that they can have their own sort of private rules and private goings on. I'll still have to think of a few different companies and organizations. I do have some ideas because while I was writing up the lore for Witches 13 and this world in general, I did have some companies already established because one of the big things or one of the inciting incidences of this world is actually because people learned that essentially the end was coming or the cascade was coming, they actually thought that was going to be the end of the world. So the United Nations was able to commandeer the government of other nations, as well as commandeer different companies and organizations and fund research in ways of surviving or, at the very least, lessening whatever damage may have happened. So that is why hmm, I wouldn't say that the I wouldn't really say that society is capitalist or communist. It's more so socialist, as there was this new social reform. And so, because power is in the people and is in, I wouldn't say the power is necessarily in companies, but there have been advancements that has allowed people to do things that they normally were not able to do because the history or the context of their current present, is the need to survive in the past. If I'm not talking much, don't mind me. I'm actually listening to some music right now. I'm actually listening to Welcome to the Playground, uh, which is a song that features in Arcane. After I make my tips and tricks video on character design, I'm definitely thinking about making another video essay because uh the one I made about cartoons are made for kids, a Western mentality, I feel like I should not so much follow up on it. I think that essay by itself is already really good. Rather, I do mention things about like the Western resurgence of animation and how essentially animated stories are getting better. And so that is definitely something I want to explore. Like shows like The Dragon Prince, uh, Arcane, Dota Dragon's Blood, and different shows like that. I definitely want to do some research and sort of um just well not really provide context, but I do want to further explore how and why more people are loving and seeing animation as a viable medium for storytelling because we do in fact have a resurgence of YouTube animators. I consider myself a YouTube animator to an extent. You then have people like Vivzy Pop who created two series. Well, she's on season 2 of Hell of a Boss, and then Has Been Hotel has been greenlit, but that's still sort of in the works. But essentially, there is this love for animation, and what I do think is Ruby, RWBY. I do think that that show also played a part in this sort of Western resurgence or this continued love for animation as a medium. Because if I'm being honest, like after Ruby hit the scene and after Has Been Hotel was announced and those streams getting like a bunch of traction while it was still in production, you saw many different animators. I do definitely think that animators like Jaden Animations, The Odd Ones Out, as well as other what are they called? Like Stickman fight animations and Newgrounds in general. Now I wasn't really much in the Newgrounds scene, but I'll definitely have to do some more research. That has also contributed to a love for animation. You also have to remember shows like Young Justice, which that fandom has survived since the show was originally canceled. Where people definitely have a love for animation, they just want quality animation. That makes sense. Now, I don't have a theory yet. What I like to do is I like to research some more before I make a final theory statement on subjects that I talk about. What was I saying? Uh, Ruby definitely was at least during its time, Ruby was definitely a inciting incident, or it set a precedent for independent slash lesser known creators and businesses creating their own original content. And then because people saw that these more serious animations were loved, that was when Netflix capitalized, and that is why you see Netflix buying different rights to anime, as well as what else are they doing? Having a bunch of original cartoons and shows like Arcane, like Dragon's Blood, like Dragon Prince, um, and a few other shows on Netflix. Again, it's a working theory. I need to do some more research, but it's coming along nicely. I think I want to add some more blue to this. So I'm using this purplish blue because what I like to do is whenever I need inspiration or something for my art, I like to go out in life and look at different objects. And so, like a few weeks back, there was this event in Raleigh, in the city where I live, and I had walked amongst the different buildings there, taking a few different pictures. And what I learned is that windows actually have this almost bluish tint to them, like this. Yeah, like they have this bluish tint to them, but at the same time, because I also have to think about different things like character motivation and stuff like that. Because the teaser trailer is from the perspective of Ayo and his color is this purplish color, I do want the windows to have some purple in them. It's going to add a sense of aura or atmosphere that projects the main character or the protagonist as seeing the world through his eyes to an extent in some way. And this is actually something that many artists and animators do is they don't just look at real life examples, but they also make intentional decisions that will help the gravity of the scene or the location. This is coming along nicely. Now, I will say because of Now, I will say that because this color is already dark, but at the same time, because this building and the building next to it, this one over here is gonna be in the front, or at least like the mid to foreground, or the correct term would be fore to mid ground. Is I am gonna have to use maybe some more neutral colors or some more darker colors to better ease my audience into this scene and ease them into what they are looking at. For the background, I'm thinking that I can use lighter colors for this building right here and maybe this building right here. So then it gives a pop that allows my audience to look back. So then there's not too much sensory overload in the foreground. Because again, the actual animation that is going to be happening on this scene where you see multiple characters walking and doing other things like that, while it is important, the actual animation itself in this scene is more so an accompaniment or to sell a sense of population and I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, busyness. I want to make this world seem alive, which is why I'm putting so much focus on the buildings in the background and you're gonna and rather than the characters that you're gonna see in the foreground. I think there's gonna be enough gray that you're getting from the road, the sidewalk, and the cobblestone ground. So what I am gonna do is I'm definitely gonna give like a desaturated orange or like a reddish or a desaturated reddish orange. So it's not as eye catching, but at the same time it's a bit of a break from the ground. I think another video I can definitely talk about is art envy, specifically art envy, because that is an interlaced video. Like many artists, they'll say you shouldn't compare yourself to other artists, which is good and it's good advice. But I do think that there should also be a video specifically talking about the negative feelings that are associated with constant comparison of oneself to other artists. And that is art envy. And I think every artist, every artist, not just people who take art seriously as like an actual business or at least try to take art and animation as an actual business, but even people who enjoy art as a hobby, there are certain levels of envy and comparison that go along with it. Like, why am I not as good as that person? Why can't I grow? Why am I not getting better? So I think I definitely do want to make a video addressing that in particular because that is something that happens and it constantly happens. And it's not like that is ever going to go away. There are always going to be those who feel envious or your envy is going to come back. Because it's an issue that I don't just go through, but it resurfaces. And that's a feeling that will never go away. I'm just going to be honest. Envy is something that will never go away. You are always going to be envious or think that you should be doing better. And that's the sad part is to an extent envy comes from self-improvement or rather envy comes from the desire to do better or be better than you were last. Though the desire for self improvement can become twisted and warped into something that is ugly, evil, and self destructive. But I do definitely think I could help people, at least in some way, if I were to make a video on that specific subject. And now the music I'm listening to, it shifted over to what's it called? No Straight Roads. That's another soundtrack that is just banger. Like if you're ever working or something or whatever it may be, you should definitely listen to No Straight Roads. That game's soundtrack is really good and it's well picked. Especially like the boss tracks and the boss music, like there's a lot of emotion to it. And the artists that worked on the soundtracks, they definitely understood and were able to understand the characters that they made songs for. It's really nice and it's really good. I definitely think I need to add more blue to this color that I chose. I don't really like how it turned out. And that is one of the pros of using clipping masks and mask layers is once you essentially drawn the outline, you can paint over and redo it as much as you want. Okay, that is a much nicer and much better color. I definitely like how that turned out. Now to work on this next building. Uh, okay, time for the next one. Let me zoom out and put this in context. Okay, I think I know what I'm gonna do. So first, I want to make this a swatch. So I have this on the quote unquote back burner, so to speak. And now what I'm going to do is I want to lighten this at least a little bit, maybe not too much, as well as lessen the saturation. And I'm gonna go back here and I'm going to lighten this because my intention is that as we move to the background, it's going to get darker to sort of further sell that theme of distance. And this is actually something that you learn to do almost automatically as an artist. It almost comes as instinct to where while you're drawing or while you're working on a project, you think, maybe I should try this, maybe I should do this, or I should shift this around. Uh, I was trying to control plus so that I can zoom in. I accidentally pressed control backspace. Again, people, when you're working on a piece of art, make sure you're careful with your commands because you may click something or press something that'll mess you up. Oh yeah, these colors are going nice together. I am liking this. Things are coming together nicely. Hmm. I wonder if I should add like some detail to these buildings, at least some like slight detail. Maybe I can take one of these colors. Actually, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So let me take this. I'm gonna go in, alter a little bit, add a new layer. Because this is still not verily, fairly in the foreground. So I'm going to take the one of these splatter brushes that I have at the bottom right here. Good. I'm definitely gonna play with the opacity though because I don't want this to be too highly detailed. This still is gonna be in a 2D animation. So I'm going to hmm, I'll do a color burn instead. Ooh, this is nice. I like it. It actually looks kind of like cobblestone or like not cobblestone, but building stone. Ooh, yeah, I like this. Now I'm wondering if I should do the same thing for like the sidewalk. But like, I don't know, would that be too much? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to this building over here, do the same thing, and then I'm going to see if I can't work with it or play with the sidewalk so that it's not so that it like fades as it goes farther towards the vanishing point. Oh yeah, cause then I can use like the eraser tool, but I can change the brush to one of those blur brushes. So then I can just easily slowly erase like the value. I think what it was is the color burn because when I was working on this last stream and a bit in my free time, I never really could find a way to capture that um sort of stone-like texture that you see in pavement and you see around cities. And I was just always using the multiply filter. Well, at least the multiply filter is usually meant for shadows. But color burn definitely did help me, and I like how it turned out. As well as playing with the opacity, that helps too. Okay, that's 2 buildings down. Okay, that looks good. At least I think it looks good, and I like how it turned out. You see that, guys? Sometimes it takes a little bit of invention and creativity. A day in the life. I was on my own, catching a ride with the lady whose hair hangs down past her thighs. Satisfied, time, man down, big one coming, lost and found. City, where your appetite? She pulls my triggers, get me up alright. It's a danger pretty here in Night City. Here in Night City. Got me up alright. Here in Night City. The way you chase and tease me got me up so high. We're on the rooftop. You got it. She pulls my trigger, got me up alright. It's a danger pretty here in Night City. Pulls my trigger, got me up alright. It's a danger pretty here in Night City. Here in Night City. Got me up alright. Here in Night City. She pulls my trigger, got me up alright. It's a danger pretty here in Night City. I don't know if that's copyright or not. I'm sorry. Like sometimes these songs they just get to me. This is coming along nicely. It's really nice to see that a city and a setting that I've slowly been working on, as well as just overall a project that I've had in my head and have been slowly working towards, is coming to life. And even though it's taking me some time, because again, I am doing this all on my own, it's still nice and it's still really fun because I have people like you who are watching my stream who are interested. Even if maybe you're not 100% interested, or like you just tune in every now and again, it's still nice to have people here. So I just want to take a second and say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for taking interest in what I do and what I've been working on. Even if it's only a little bit, even if it's sporadic, even. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. This has been a really fun and just an overall nice project to do and work on. And I've loved every second of it. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, sometimes I even dream about it. Like I'll work on a piece of character art, or I'll work on like a design or a setting or something. And then like that night I'll have a dream about it. Like it's nice, it's fun.